Why do some businesses last for decades while others fail in just a few years? In this video, we'll explore Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game and how the most successful businesses focus on long-term impact instead of short-term wins. If you want to build something that lasts, whether it's a business, a career, or a personal goal, this video is for you. Let's dive in. At Poetics of Success, we do more than just summarize books. We dive deep into their key insights and offer unique perspectives to help you integrate their lessons into your journey of personal growth, success, and lasting habit change. Before you reach infinite source in your business game, please subscribe for more elevating content on how to rewrite your story of transformation and success. Imagine starting a business and working hard to grow it. You see some success, but after a few years, things start falling apart. Why does this happen? What makes some businesses last for decades while others fade away? In his book, The Infinite Game, Simon Sinek explains that many businesses fail because they focus only on short-term success. They play a finite game, trying to beat competitors, chase profits, and win quickly. But the best businesses think differently. They play an infinite game, where the goal isn't just to win, but to keep growing, adapting, and creating long-term value. So, how can you use this idea in your own business? In this video, we will share 4 powerful lessons from the infinite game that will help you build a business that lasts. Why having a bigger purpose leads to success. How to build strong relationships with your team and customers. Why learning from competitors is better than trying to destroy them. How to stay flexible and keep improving, no matter what happens. If you're an entrepreneur or thinking about starting a business, these ideas will change the way you think. Why do some leaders create businesses that last for decades, while others struggle to survive in the long run? Many companies start strong, but fail because their leaders focus only on short-term success. Others, however, continue to grow for years because they think differently. What's their secret? Simon Sinek in The Infinite Game explains that there are 2 ways of thinking in business: finite and infinite. A finite mindset is all about short-term wins. Leaders with this approach focus on immediate goals, like beating a competitor, increasing quarterly profits, or hitting sales targets. While this may bring quick results, it often leads to bad decisions, such as cutting corners or sacrificing long-term growth for temporary gains. A classic example of this was Microsoft in the early 2000s, which spent much of its energy trying to outperform Apple rather than focusing on long-term innovation. On the other hand, an infinite mindset is about looking beyond short-term success and focusing on long-term impact. Leaders with this perspective build businesses that evolve, adapt, and continue growing for years. They understand that success isn't about winning a competition, it's about staying in the game. Apple, under Steve Jobs, embodied this mindset by prioritizing innovation and customer experience rather than trying to beat specific rivals. So, why do some businesses last longer than others? The answer lies in how their leaders think. Companies that stand the test of time are led by people who play the infinite game. Instead of chasing quick success, they focus on building something meaningful. They invest in their employees, fostering a culture of trust and innovation rather than fear and pressure. Instead of seeing competitors as threats, they view them as worthy rivals, learning from them rather than obsessing over beating them. In today's world, companies like Amazon, Tesla, and even OpenAI demonstrate this mindset. They are not just focused on short-term profits, they are constantly evolving, setting new standards, and redefining their industries. For anyone leading a business or starting a new venture, the key question is this: are you playing to win in the short term, or are you building something that will stand the test of time? Why do some businesses inspire loyalty and grow for decades, while others struggle to survive despite making a lot of money? At first glance, it might seem like the key to business success is simple: make as much money as possible. But if that were true, every profitable company would last forever. Instead, many businesses that focus only on profits eventually lose momentum, while those with a deeper purpose continue to thrive. So, what's the secret? The Infinite Game explains that truly successful businesses don't just chase profits, they have a just cause. A just cause is a strong purpose that goes beyond making money. When a company has a clear mission, it stays motivated, adapts to change, and keeps growing over time. On the other hand, companies that only focus on short-term profits often struggle in the long run. When profit is the only goal, decision-making becomes reactive. Leaders cut corners, employees lose motivation, and customers lose trust. Eventually, these companies either collapse or become irrelevant. Many companies that prioritize profit above all else end up failing. Think of businesses that cut costs so aggressively that they produce low-quality products, treat employees poorly, or engage in unethical behavior. So, why do some businesses last while others fade away? The answer lies in their purpose. Companies that focus only on profits might see short-term success, but they struggle to keep growing because money alone isn't enough to inspire people. Businesses that have a just cause create deeper connections with their customers, attract loyal employees, and stay relevant in changing markets. This idea applies to modern businesses as well. Companies like Tesla, Airbnb, and even newer brands like Oatly succeed because they stand for something bigger than just making money. Tesla is pushing for a sustainable future. Airbnb promotes a world where people feel at home anywhere, and Oatly is reshaping the dairy industry with plant-based alternatives. Is your business just about making money, or are you building something with a purpose that will stand the test of time? Why do some companies have highly motivated teams that drive long-term success, while others struggle with burnout and high turnover? At first glance, a high-pressure work environment might seem like a good way to push employees to perform better, but in reality, when people work in constant fear of losing their jobs, making mistakes, or disappointing their bosses, they become stressed, disengaged, and less creative. On the other hand, companies that build a culture of trust and psychological safety often see long-term success. So, what makes the difference? In the book, Simon Sinek explains that companies playing the infinite game invest in trust, collaboration, and psychological safety. This means creating an environment where employees feel safe to share ideas, take risks, and ask for help without fearing punishment. However, in fear-based workplaces, employees are constantly worried about meeting strict targets, avoiding mistakes, or proving their worth. This pressure leads to stress, reduced creativity, and even unethical behavior, because people feel forced to protect themselves rather than focus on the company's mission. A great example of trust-based culture is Netflix. The company operates with a high degree of freedom and responsibility, meaning employees are trusted to make decisions, manage their own schedules, and even take unlimited vacation time. Because of this trust, Netflix attracts top talent, encourages innovation, and stays ahead in a highly competitive industry. On the other hand, companies with toxic, high-pressure cultures, where employees constantly fear layoffs, micromanagement, or impossible performance expectations, often struggle. Many businesses, especially those in fast-moving industries like tech and finance, have faced scandals and crises because their employees pressured to meet extreme targets. So, why do some companies thrive with engaged employees while others suffer from burnout and high turnover? The answer lies in trust. Companies that invest in psychological safety and strong leadership create environments where employees feel valued, motivated, and free to do their best work. In today's business world, companies like Google, Patagonia, and Shopify focus on building trust-based cultures where employees have the freedom to innovate and collaborate. In contrast, companies that rely on fear, strict control, and pressure may see short-term results, but they often struggle to keep talent and maintain long-term success. Are you creating a culture of trust that helps people do their best work, or are you leading with fear and pressure that could be holding your team back? Why do some businesses continue to grow and succeed for decades while others disappear after a few years? Many companies start strong, make a lot of money, and seem unstoppable, only to crash later. Others, however, manage to stay relevant, evolve, and last for generations. So, what's their secret? According to Simon Sinek in The Infinite Game, businesses that last don't just focus on short-term profits. Instead, they play the infinite game, which means they focus on purpose, trust, adaptability, and continuous learning. Instead of seeing business as a competition with a clear winner and loser, they focus on staying in the game for as long as possible. They build a culture of trust, where employees feel valued and customers feel connected. On the other hand, businesses with a finite mindset focus only on immediate success. They chase short-term profits, cut costs at the expense of their employees and customers, and often make decisions based on quarterly results rather than long-term vision. While they may grow quickly, they struggle to sustain success because their focus is too narrow. Unlike many traditional business books that focus on competition, beating rivals, and maximizing short-term profits, Sinek argues that this approach often leads to failure. When companies prioritize only financial gains, they lose sight of what really matters. Employees become disengaged, customers lose trust, and innovation slows down. Many businesses that collapsed in recent years followed a finite mindset. Some aggressively cut costs, underpaid employees, or relied on unsustainable business practices to boost profits in the short term. At first, these strategies seemed successful, but eventually their weaknesses were exposed, and they either lost their customers or burned out their workforce. Some of the most successful companies today embrace the infinite game. Amazon, for example, didn't focus on quick profits when it started. Instead, it reinvested in customer experience, innovation, and long-term growth. Tesla isn't just selling cars. It is working toward a bigger mission of sustainable energy, which attracts loyal customers and top talent. So, why do some businesses last while others fail? The answer lies in their mindset. Companies that focus only on short-term success may grow fast, but they often struggle to sustain that growth. Meanwhile, businesses that embrace the infinite game, those that focus on purpose, trust, adaptability, and learning, are the ones that stand the test of time. Are you playing to win in the short term, or are you building something that will last? So, after hearing all this, take a moment to think about your own work. Are you playing a finite game where success is measured only by quick wins and short-term profits? Or are you playing an infinite game where your focus is on growth, purpose, and lasting impact? The way you approach business, work, or even personal goals can determine whether you build something that lasts or something that fades away. Can you think of any companies that follow infinite thinking, businesses that focus on long-term success instead of just beating competitors? Share your examples in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to Poetics of Success for more insights on business, success, and personal growth. Wishing you wealth, success, and consistency in everything you do.